Imagine trying to explain to your boss why you completely missed like a massive $1 million deadline yesterday, right?
Oh, that sounds like an absolute nightmare.
Right. But here's the catch. You are not allowed to use the past tense.
Wow. You literally couldn't do it.
Exactly. You'd just be standing there, pointing at a calendar, sweating, and just stringing together present tense words that make zero sense.
Yeah, it would be a total disaster.
It totally would. So welcome back to the Mini English Tips community, and welcome to another deep dive. Today, we are handing you, the listener, the ultimate key to human connection.
We really are. We are mastering the simple past tense today.
Because honestly, this isn't just some boring grammar lesson. I mean, this is the engine of storytelling.
It's the only way you can share your weekend or, explain a historical event from 500 years ago.
Or even just justify why that pizza box on the counter is suddenly empty.
Right, exactly. Because that inability to communicate backward in time, it would leave us entirely trapped in the present moment.
Totally trapped.
Yeah, the simple past is a foundation of sharing our lived reality with others. So to set the stage for you, the core mechanism of this tense is absolute finality.
Finality, I like.
Yeah, it's used exclusively for actions or states of being that started and ended in the past. Like, think of it like a sealed time capsule buried in the ground.
Ooh, a time capsule.
Right, you cannot go back and alter the contents. So if you ate a whole pizza last night, that action is done, digested, and locked in history.
There is no undo button. No Control-Z for that pizza.
Exactly, no Control-Z. And because these actions are locked in that buried time capsule, we usually need to give the listener a map to find it.
Right, we need navigational coordinates.
Yes, and we rely heavily on specific time markers to set the scene. These tell whoever is listening exactly when this finish action took place.
We're talking about words and phrases like yesterday, last week, in 1990.
Just now, or, using ago, like 2 years ago.
Right. Whenever you hear those markers, you know you are firmly walking in the territory of the simple past.
And those markers are vital, honestly, because English grammar is just highly concerned with sequence.
It really is.
But, before we get into the action verbs, let's look at the foundational building block of this timeline. We have to address the verb to be.
Oh, the classic to be.
The classic. So in the present, we describe our current state by saying, I am, he is, she is, or it is.
Right.
But to push that state into our time capsule, all of those become was. So, I am tired today transforms into I was tired yesterday.
Makes sense. And for the plural forms, like, you are, we are, they are.
For those, we shift to were. So, they're at the park becomes they were at the park.
Got it.
Yeah, it's simply describing a state, an emotion, or a location that existed in the past and is now definitively over.
Okay, so I want to push back on the strict necessity of time markers for just a second.
Oh.
Yeah, because here's a street smart tip for your daily conversations. While those navigational coordinates are great, you don't always need to explicitly state them if the context is doing the heavy lifting.
That's a very good point.
Right. Let's say you and I are standing at the water cooler, talking about a conference we both know happened yesterday. I can just say, I talked to the regional manager, and you already know I mean yesterday.
Because the context is already set.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't need to sound like a programmed robot repeating yesterday at the end of every single sentence. Context is off of the invisible time marker.
That's very true. And that actually brings up a fascinating psychological distinction in how we use English.
Ooh, psychological. What do you mean?
Well, what happens when the context isn't a specific event, but rather your entire life?
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, learners often struggle with the difference between describing a specific past event and describing a life experience.
Right.
If you say, I was in France, English grammar practically demands a specific point in time on that timeline. Even if you drop the time marker, the listener's brain is waiting for the when.
They're just sitting there waiting for you to say, like, in 2018.
Exactly. But if you want to focus purely on the life experience, the fact that your human body has visited France at some point before today, you shift away from the simple past entirely.
Oh, right. You use the present perfect.
Yes, you say, I have been to France.
See, that is a massive distinction for anyone trying to build rapport. I mean, I have been, there is basically reading from the resume of your life. It's about your worldly experience.
Beautifully put.
But there means we are zooming in with a magnifying glass on, like a specific rainy Tuesday in Paris.
Yes, that zoom-in effect is the defining trait of the simple past. It anchors us.
It really does. But if you mix those up at a networking event, you send the listener's brain down the wrong path entirely.
You really do. Now, looking at how human communication evolved, we eventually needed to do more than just describe our states of being or where we were. We needed to describe complex actions.
Well, here come the action words.
Yes, which brings us to regular verbs. And the incredible news here is that centuries ago, English underwent a sort of mass standardization.
Thank goodness for that.
Right. For the vast majority of verbs, we adopted a universal equalizer. We simply add the suffix ed to the base form to push it backward in time.
So the verb work becomes worked.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Clean becomes cleaned,
Huh.
and watch becomes watched.
I mean, it sounds incredibly straightforward.
Until you actually have to write it down, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
The spelling mechanics have a few traps, but they are highly logical once you see the matrix.
Let's break those down.
Okay, so first, if a verb already ends in an E, the language doesn't want to make things visually complicated. You don't stack another E on top of it.
Right, that would look weird.
So you just add the D.
Mhm.
Bake becomes baked. Dance becomes danced.
It's nice and simple.
Yeah. And second, if you have a verb ending in a consonant plus Y, like study, well, that E drops completely away and we replace it with IED.
Oh, the dropping rule.
Yep. So study becomes studied, cry becomes cried.
But keep in mind that U rule only applies if the letter right before it is a consonant.
Wait, really? Explain that.
Yeah, if you look at a word like play, the letter before the Y is an A, which is a vowel. The vowel actually protects the Y.
Oh, I love that. It protects it.
It does. So for play, we ignore the dropping rule entirely and just add the standard ED to make played.
Okay, so I used to get incredibly tripped up by the final spelling rule, which is the CVC rule. You know, consonant, vowel, consonant.
That one is notoriously tricky for people.
It really is. The standard teaching is that if you see that pattern at the end of a short verb, you double the final consonant before adding ED.
Right, so stop gets a double P for stopped.
And plan gets a double N for planned. But then I would look at a word like open. O-P-E-N. The end of that word is P-E-N.
Consonant, vowel, consonant.
Exactly. So by the basic rule, it should have a double N, but it doesn't.
No, it doesn't.
And the reason why is all about the musicality of English. You only double that final consonant if the spoken stress is on that final syllable.
Oh, the stress. That's the secret.
Yeah. When we say open, we stress the front. Open, because the front is heavy, the back stays light. So just one N.
Ah, I see.
But look at the word control.
Mm-hmm.
We stress the back, control. Because the stress hits that final CVC syllable hard, we have to reinforce it with a double L before adding the ED.
That is fascinating. That musicality dictates almost everything about how English operates. I mean, the written rules are just attempts to capture the physical reality of how words sound in the human mouth.
Which perfectly tees up what might be the single most important street smart tip of this entire deep dive.
Ooh, I'm ready.
We've talked about how to spell these regular verbs, but let's talk about the physical reality of speaking them. This is the ultimate, universally common mistake you want to avoid.
Everyone makes this mistake at first.
They really do. When you see that ED at the end of a regular verb, your brain naturally wants to pronounce the E.
Because it's right there on the page.
Exactly. You see W-O-R-K-E-D, and you want to say worked. You see C-L-E-A-N-E-D, and you want to say cleaned.
Oh, please don't do that.
Right. Never read the E. Keep that E absolutely 100% silent.
The spelling is just a historical leftover that tricks millions of learners into adding an entire extra syllable to their sentences.
Which instantly disrupts the rhythm of their speech. It's a total phonetic trap.
It really is.
That ED ending shouldn't sound like a separate vowel. It should actually sound like a crisp T or a soft D. Let's break down the mechanics in your mouth.
Let's do it.
If the base verb ends in an unvoiced sound, meaning your vocal cords aren't vibrating, like the K in work or the P in stop, the EE sounds like a sharp T.
So worked, stopped, laughed.
Exactly. But if the base verb ends in a voiced sound where your throat vibrates, like the N in clean or the vowel in play, it sounds like a soft D.
Cleaned, played.
Yes. You completely swallow that E. The only time you actually pronounce the E as an extra syllable is if the base verb already ends in a T or a D sound.
Right, because otherwise it would be impossible to say.
Think about the verb want. If we just added a T sound to want, it would be unpronounceable. Want.
Yeah, you can't say that.
So to physically allow our mouths to say it, we add the vowel sound. Wanted. Same with need. It becomes needed. For literally every other regular verb in the English language, keep that E silent.
I cannot emphasize this enough. Mastering that single pronunciation mechanic will do more for your conversational fluency than memorizing a dictionary.
100%.
But, that brings us to a part of the simple past that requires a different kind of effort, because not all words participated in that great standardization centuries ago.
Oh boy, here come the rule breakers.
We have to discuss the irregular verbs. If regular verbs are the compliant rule followers that take an ED, irregular verbs are the ancient rebels.
Ancient rebels.
Yeah, they completely refuse to follow the ED rule, and their spelling changes entirely when they move into the past tense.
They're the wild cards. And honestly, for a long time, I wondered why we even have them. Like, why didn't English just force every verb to use ED and make our lives easier?
Well, it really comes down to frequency and survival.
Survival.
Yes. The irregular verbs we use today, words like go, eat, see, buy, these are derived from ancient Germanic roots. They were the core survival words of early English speakers.
Ah, so they were used all the time.
Exactly. Because they were used hundreds of times a day in daily life, their original past tense forms became so deeply ingrained in the collective memory of the population.
Oh, so when the newer standardized ED rule came along, they were just too popular to change.
Precisely. These core words successfully resisted it. People simply refused to stop saying went and start saying good. The frequency of use protected their irregular status.
That explains why the lot of irregulars is actually pretty small.
Yeah.
Out of the tens of thousands of verbs in English, only a couple of hundred are irregular.
Right, but they are everywhere.
Because they are those ancient core survival words, they happen to be the most common verbs we use every single day. So the verb buy becomes bought, see becomes saw, eat becomes ate. You cannot guess them. You just have to absorb them through exposure.
And some of them are incredibly deceptive to look at, like the verb to read.
Oh, that one is so sneaky.
The verb read is a perfect example of how spelling and pronunciation decoupled over time. The spelling stays exactly the same in the past tense. R-E-A-D.
The visual remains totally unchanged.
Yes, but the pronunciation completely shifts to sound exactly like the color red. So today I read a book. Yesterday I read a book.
It's crazy. But hey, since we have to memorize these irregulars anyway, let's put them to work with some advanced street-smart vocabulary.
Let's hear it.
I want to give you a fun slang word you can attach to these past tense structures to sound incredibly native. The word is baller.
Oh, I love baller.
Right. Now, baller is an adjective that describes something luxurious, highly successful, or just universally awesome. It originally comes from sports, and the idea of someone with a lot of money or a massive success story.
Right, someone living the good life.
Exactly. So you could go to a networking event or a really high-end dinner party, and the next day you use your irregular verb to tell your friend about it. You wouldn't just say, I went to the party and it was good.
Too boring.
Way too boring. You say, I went to the party and it was baller.
That is so good. Incorporating slang like that demonstrates that grammar is merely the skeleton of the language. The vocabulary you dress it in dictates the entire personality of the sentence.
Absolutely. And I'll give you another example of how vocabulary shifts the entire emotional weight of a past action.
Okay.
Let's use the irregular verb do, which becomes did.
A very common one?
Yep. Imagine you launch a successful project and you want to talk about your past achievement. You might say, I did it by myself.
Which is grammatically a flawless, simple past sentence.
It is. But culturally, in Western English, the phrase by myself can sometimes carry a subtle undertone of isolation.
Oh, like you were all alone.
Yeah, it sounds a little lonely, as if you had no friends around to help you. So if you want to convey a sense of fierce independence and pride, you change the prepositional phrase and say, I do it on my own.
Wow, that does feel different.
It describes the exact same historical action, but on my own radiates accomplishment. I started the company on my own. I learned English on my own.
That psychological nuance is exactly what separates a proficient speaker from a masterful one.
Exactly.
And, speaking of the word did, that brings us perfectly to the underlying architecture of negative sentences and questions.
Oh, this is the big one.
It really is. This is where the simple past introduces a unique mechanical quirk. In English, the word not is structurally weak.
It's a very needy word.
It is. It cannot stand alone as a structural pillar in a sentence. Centuries ago, people might have said, I went not. But as the language evolved, not needed a helper verb to lean on to make the sentence stable.
Right.
And in the simple past tense, that structural pillar is did.
To really visualize how this works, think of the helper verb did as a superhero.
A superhero? I like where this is going.
Yeah. When you need to make a negative statement or ask a question, your sentence is in trouble. It needs help. So did swoops into your sentence wearing a cape, and it picks up all the heavy weight of the past tense.
That makes perfect sense.
Because did is already solidly, unquestionably in the past, your main verb doesn't have to carry the weight anymore.
Oh, it gets to relax.
Exactly. The main verb gets to sit back, relax in a lawn chair, and revert right back to its normal, everyday base form. It doesn't have to do the work of time travel anymore because the superhero is doing it.
So to form a negative, we combine the superhero did and the weak word not to create the contraction didn't.
Right.
The sentence I bought a book transforms into I didn't buy a book. The verb bought reverts to buy.
It's so clean.
And for questions, we take that same helper verb did and move it to the very front of the sentence to signal to the listener that a question is coming. Did you buy a book?
And right there is where the ultimate, most persistent mistake happens for learners.
Oh, I know exactly what you're going to say.
The students understand they need the superhero did, so they put it in the sentence, but then they force the main verb to keep working in the past tense too.
Yes, the double past tense.
They will say things like, I didn't win an or did you had a good time? I'm telling you right now, do not make your main verb work overtime.
It's exhausting for you, and it sounds clunky to the listener.
Exactly. English does not want you to do the work twice. Once did is in the sentence, the main verb goes back to normal. I didn't go. Did you have? Let the superhero do its job.
The resistance to double past tenses is just a core rule of English efficiency. One marker of the past is enough for any clause.
All right, well, we have excavated a massive amount of ground today, from time capsules to superheroes. Let's jump into our 3-minute wrap-up and cement this knowledge so you can start using it immediately.
Sounds good. Let's recap.
If you take away anything from today's deep dive, remember that time markers, words like yesterday, last week, and ago, are your navigational coordinates. They tell your listener exactly when that finished immutable action took place.
And when dealing with action words, remember the historical standardization. The vast majority of verbs are regular. You simply add ed to the base form.
Just keep those mechanical spelling rules in mind.
Right. If it ends in e, just add d. If it ends in a consonant plus y, change the y to ied. And watch out for that CVC rule. You only double the final consonant if the spoken stress is heavily on the end of the word, like controlled.
And please, I am begging you to practice this in the mirror. Hammer home the pronunciation rule for those regular verbs. Keep the E completely silent.
Yes, please.
Do not say worked or cleaned. Swallow the vowel. Make it sound like a crisp T or a soft D. Worked, cleaned. You will instantly sound 20 times more fluent.
Furthermore, embrace the ancient rebels of the language, the irregular verbs. Core survival words like go becoming went or buy becoming bought resisted standardization entirely. You simply have to absorb them through daily use.
It's the only way.
And finally, when forming negatives and questions, use did or didn't and leave the main verb alone. The helper verb carries the past tense, so your main action word reverts entirely to its base form.
Let the superhero carry the heavy lifting.
Well, that brings us to the end of our lesson today. To everyone listening, thank you so much for investing your time with us.
Thanks for hanging out.
If you found this deep dive illuminating, please hit that like button and make sure to subscribe to the Mini English Tips channel so you never miss a lesson. We actively read your responses, so I have a direct homework assignment for you right now.
Oh, homework time. Let's hear it.
Jump into the comment section below and tell us, using the simple past, what did you do last weekend?
Tell us a real story. Let's see those irregular verbs in action.
Exactly. Use your regular verbs, deploy those irregulars, and let us know if your weekend was baller. We can't wait to read what you produce.
Definitely.
And as we sign off, I want to leave you with a final thought to mull over. We've spent all this time dissecting the mechanics of the past tense, the spelling, the helper verbs, the pronunciation. But step back and think about what the simple past actually represents on a human level.
It's so much more than grammar.
It is. It is the very mechanism of human memory. Without the grammatical ability to firmly place an action in a finished past, we couldn't reflect on our mistakes, we couldn't share our triumphs, and we couldn't warn the next generation about what we survived.
That's incredibly powerful.
The simple past is the specific tool that allows us to write the continuous story of who we are. So the next time you use it, remember, you aren't just following a grammatical rule, you are actively giving voice to your own history. Until next time, keep practicing.